Welcome back to our coaches show this week with, normally Ben Smith, but Ben is home being a dad right now, being joined by Coach Bryant today, Bryant Blackmon today. Coach, glad to have you here. We also got a wrestler we'll talk with in just a moment, but Seth Gregory, and we'd like to begin the show by talking about what's going on in the bear wrestling program right now. We had a tough regional match last week, and we look forward now to move on to the state.
Yeah, last week we had our region duels here on Thursday, and wrestled Walker Valley the first round, which would have been our region semis match, and wrestled pretty well. I felt like we were a little flat, but it's kind of good to get those first match jitters out of the way, and then we moved on to Cleveland, and in years past we've wrestled them or not wrestled them, and this year we decided to wrestle them in the finals and give ourselves a shot to secure the #1 seed at the state tournament, because if you win your region and you place the year before, you get seeded. If you don't, then you get blind drawn in, and they just separate the 1 and 2s from each region into top side of the bracket and bottom side of the bracket. So we wrestled okay. Once it was mathematically out of reach for us, something it's kind of been this way for a long time, and it's smart because we've had situations where matches were mathematically out of reach, and we've wrestled kids, including myself. My senior year we wrestled Franklin in the state semis, and I didn't have to wrestle that match, and normally we would forfeit out at that point just to prevent injuries and prevent situations from coming up, and I broke my ankle in the state dual semis when we didn't have
senior year.
Yeah, my senior year. Luckily, it wasn't so severe that I couldn't compete. We just didn't practice and stuff. I wrestled region and state, but it was kind of a learning experience back then, and something that I talk to Coach Loxton a lot about.
There's a strategy behind all of that,
Yeah. So Thursday night we were. After the heavyweight match, it was mathematically out of reach, so it was safer on our end to go ahead and just forfeit out and prevent injuries, prevent situations from coming up, and get ourselves ready for this week, which we leave Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. We'll compete on Friday at 3 o'clock against Heritage. If we win that match, we'll either have Wilson Central or Science Hill. Wilson Central and Science Hill are the teams that we have seen Science Hill, but as far as rankings throughout the year and stuff, we've all kind of been mixed up in there, with Cleveland still being #1, but 2, 3, 4, and 5 has been between us, Wilson Central, Science Hill, and Blackmon, and it's just rotated through kind of throughout the year. So we'll get to see those teams hopefully second round, and depending on how that goes, we'll determine what we do on Saturday. So.
Well, there you go. Now, you were a state champion yourself, weren't you, back in the day? What?
Yes, sir.
With your senior year or junior year? Yes.
I placed second my junior year, and then won it as a senior.
Even with a broken foot, as it turned out. Right?
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's determined. Now,
it was an interesting progression, but we got through it. So.
What weight class would that have been?
171 back then.
That's a pound or two ago, wasn't it?
A little bit. I'm close to that now.
Well, that's good. That's good. And now, after the after the deals are taken over, the traditional, when will that happen?
The following Saturday, we will have traditional region at Ray County, and then as whoever places in the top 4, which hopefully we'll send all 13 of our starters right now. We'll move on to the state tournament the following week. And
it's individual for individuals to win it on their own, even if the team doesn't. But they do add up team points to declare a team.
Yeah, what you do individually as you progress through your own individual bracket, it's the same concept as a dual meet. Pretty much is whatever you do as far as your scoring or your pins or however the match is finished, adds up team points and stuff as you progress through the tournament, and you get progression points if you're in the championship or consolation side of the bracket.
Well, let's bring our wrestler in here, Seth Gregory, who's a senior. Greg, Seth, what weight class are you in?
138.
138. Now, I know you're going over there with the intent you're going to medal, hopefully win a state title. Is that what you're after?
Yes, sir.
Have you medaled in the past?
I have not.
You have not, so this could be a new venture here for you. Coach, I guess you're counting on him and a bunch of the other guys to come through for you, aren't you?
Yeah, Seth's been one of those guys for us over the years that, he's been behind some really good guys, and he's got a great opportunity to medal this year. And he's a leader in our room. He's a leader on the team. He's kind of the quiet guy on the team, but he's one of those guys that we look to every match to do his job and to lead for us. And he's a great teammate. The guys love him.
Represents the program well, doesn't he?
Yes, sir.
Gregory, now, or I want to call you Gregory, but Seth Gregory. You're at 138 now. Did you wrestle at a lighter weight when you first came to Bradley, or have you been this size all along, or
Yeah.
you moved up the chain there?
When I first came here as a freshman, I wrestled 106.
Okay.
But I wasn't 106. I was like 98.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was a little bitty guy back then. And
Wow. Well, now, you're a senior this year. Do you have brothers? You said something earlier about you have a brother that used to wrestle that you sort of wrestle with at home to sort of, keep in shape or whatever there. And
Yeah.
besides being here at Bradley and working out and all that,
Yeah.
does that help you? Is he pretty good? I mean, who wins that match? Between you and him?
Well, he's more technical, so I give him that. He's pretty good, but I'm just a lot more meatier than him. So
Yeah.
I bully him.
You're meatier than he is. Well, that's it's something there. Oh my goodness! And also, you wrestle at Lake Forest. I see you got the hoodie on there for Lake Forest.
Yeah.
Who was your coach down there?
Coach Angsminger, Coach Hames, and Coach Bailey.
Okay. Well, how's your career been at Bradley? I mean, have you enjoyed the program?
Yeah. I think it's going well. I've had a few bumps, but I think I'm getting back on track.
Well, you're part of an elite program, to say the least. Anybody that wrestles for Bradley got to know, you're one of the best programs in the state, and we wish you all the best of luck there. It should be fun there. You was talking about in the bracket you're in, Science Hill, Blackmon, Wilson Central. Those are the names we hear over and over, just like they hear Bradley and Cleveland every year.
If you look at the way our bracket kind of fell this year and stuff, you got Wilson Central and Centennial on our end, which is the number 3 and 4 team from last year.
Yeah.
With us finishing second. They're on our side of the bracket. Wilson Central winning their region, Centennial winning theirs. So you got 2 and 3 seed on the bottom. So
Yeah.
we've got the heavier side of the bracket, in my opinion. But as far as looking at matchups and looking at what teams can do, I feel pretty confident as far as us wrestling Science Hill and Centennial. Wilson Central, I don't think they match up that great with us, but I also don't think they match up well with Cleveland either, however this plays out. So we'll see. I mean, it all comes down to, did you do your job or did you not?
Yeah.
And, it's hard to gauge some of those teams that are up in the Nashville area or in the West Tennessee area because we don't see them that often. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen Wilson Central all year, and then you try to look and see, okay, who have they competed against, who have they not competed against?
You may have competed against.
Yeah, and we're trying to look for common opponents, and there's not a whole lot of common opponents there, so it's kind of hard to gauge. You know names, but it's still kind of hard to gauge, like what kind of season are they having because you don't know the teams that they've competed against.
Sport like that about any sport, I guess. And wrestling, and we've talked about this before, wrestling is one-on-one. You can't hide in wrestling. You're out there on the mat in front of the whole crowd and whatever your weight class is, and it's you against him and him against you, and he's wanting to win as bad as you are, and it's a mental thing, I guess, too, in a lot of ways. Who's got the willpower and the drive to and the heart to win this game or win this match and move on for the team there. But it's truly one of those mental sports, I call it.
Yeah, it's definitely a sport where you can't hide.
Right.
Most sports you can rely on teammates to.
Yeah. Football, basketball, sort of hide.
Be in there with you, but at the end of the day, wrestling's one of those sports that I think, teaches a lot of life skills, just like other sports. But I think it takes on a little bit different approach in the sense that you're out there by yourself and.
Mom and Daddy can't bail you out. You're out there on that mat on your back trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess, can you?
You're exactly right.
A question we haven't asked, one I thought about though. Once the season is completely over, traditionals, deals, and everything is over. I guess the guys have free reign to do whatever they want. Do you ask them to do anything in particular, or do you wait till a certain point of the year when they start returning? And
if you look at kind of the progression of wrestling in the past 10, 15 years, it's becoming a more year-round type sport, whereas before, and Coach Loxton and I have had this talk before, and Coach Smith and I have had this talk before, is, you know, we used to just run and bike and lift and swim, and, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of just coordinated effort during the off season back then. But as stuff has progressed, it's kind of developed into, you need to be wrestling freestyle, you need to be wrestling Greco, you need to be wrestling all these other styles throughout the summer. And we try to balance that as much as possible. We're going to look at, you know, taking on a little different approach this year, but, you know, as soon as season's over, you know, we look at our guys that are coming back next year, their season's starting at that point. You know, what are you doing between now and November? So we provide a lot of opportunities to travel and compete in big tournaments, and provide a lot of opportunities for lifting and running and training and stuff.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, that answers what I was trying to get to there, and I was always wondering about that. But we thank you for being here today for Coach Ben Smith,
Yes,
who
sir.
is home with Dottie, the little one, the little girl who was born early last week, I guess.
when I believe it was last Wednesday.
Yeah, he was here Tuesday. He was born, I think, late that evening or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's about a week old. She is.
Yes.
And Ben, we missed you today. Hope to have you back here soon. I'm sure he's going to take a few more days off with her. And that's where he needs to be. We need him there.
Yes, sir.
His only child at this point, and his lovely wife. Seth Gregory, senior 138-pounder. Glad to have you with us today, too.
Thank you.
For now, we're going to sign off, say so long for now, God bless, and go Bears.